searching for me. I finished this book last year, and the reason, I suppose, why it took so long to come to this stage with it is that I lost my nerve a little bit. I was roadrunner when I was writing it, and then I thought, right, so I've written a book, and then it sat in my bedside locker for 6 months. So I'm a mother of 3, and when I had that moment when I realised that my son was more intelligent than I was, when he said to me, Mum, you're always telling me that I can do anything I put my mind to. I said, yeah, of course you can, you can do anything you put your mind to. And he said, well then why is your book still sitting on the bedside locker? I had no answer. He's 10. So he encouraged me then to hit the road and run in again, and that's when I found Emer. I had been searching for ages to try and find the right person to put my book in the hands of. And because it's my life on the pages, it's so personal to me, I was reluctant to give it away to anybody. And I spent months trying to get the right person, and I was using excuses, but eventually then when I spoke to Emer, it just felt right. She cared about what I was talking about. She wasn't interested in the check at the end of the day. She's putting a hell of a lot more work than I ever expected into me and my book, and she just gave me the confidence to stand here. She gave me the confidence to realise that I am worth talking about my life, and I wouldn't be at this point even without Emer, so thanks. So as I said, my book's called Searching for Me, and I'm going to read you a chapter about when I met my birth mother for the first time. It was a warm September morning, and the city centre was awash with people going about their day, enjoying the sunshine. In the distance, a busker with a guitar was singing Robbie Williams' Angels, and as I took in all the people around me, I began to wonder where they were all going. Did anyone else around me have an important day ahead too? They certainly didn't look like they had a care in the world. I wish I felt the same. Thankfully though, Mum as ever was amazing and doing a great job of keeping me calm and relaxed. As we walked through the city, following the same path to the adoption agency that my parents had taken all those years ago to meet their children for the first time, I looked at her and marvelled at the wonderful role model that she had always been. Eventually we reached the big green door. I didn't knock at first. I took a minute, looked at my mum and just stared straight ahead at the golden arch around the top of the door and the big brass handle. I couldn't help but wonder how many people's lives had been changed forever by lifting this handle, knocking on this door, and walking under the arch. My birth mother had knocked on this door, walked through to the other side, but in doing so she lost the child she had carried for 9 months. My parents, however, knocked twice on this big green door and walked through to the other side and gained 2 children as a result. This door changed people's lives, for better or for worse. Who knew what it would do for me? Eventually, when I got all the courage I could muster, I took a step and knocked on the green door. What would I gain? What would I lose? I really didn't know, but I decided in those few minutes that it didn't matter who was lifting up the big brass handle. Every single person who stepped up and walked through the other side of this door had something in common. Whether they were a birth mother or father, looking for help, giving a child up for adoption, or adoptive parents filling out their first application form, or coming to collect their child for the first time, or like me, a lost child, looking for answers about where they came from. Every one of us had the courage to come here, and at the very least, we deserved an answer. I looked at Mum, again, who was watching me struggle. No words were needed, but I felt her reassurance that no matter how this day went, everything was going to be okay. And I finally took one last deep breath, lifted the handle, and heard the loud knock echo through the large empty hallway. Anne came to the door with a look of both anticipation and excitement on her face. She was dressed up more than usual, in a flowing, flowery dress, and was clutching her hands in front of her as she told me that Mary was waiting for me. She led us into the office where my mum would wait. Then it was time to climb the stairs, and with each step, I could feel my heart pounding out of my chest, almost in sync with my footsteps. As it turned out, Anne was bringing me up to the very same room that 20 years before my mum had been waiting for me to be placed in her arms for the first time. Anne pushed open the door and held it for me as I gingerly walked in, almost hiding behind her like a child. And there she was. It had been 2 decades of wondering everything from what she looked like to what she sounded like, and now here she was in front of me. I was almost afraid to look at her. As soon as Mary saw me, she stood up with tears in her eyes, and we slowly walked towards each other before falling into each other's arms and crying as we held each other tight. It felt felt like neither of us spoke for such a long time, but it wasn't an awkward silence, it was apt. Eventually we stood back, and even though this rush of emotions was nearly too much to handle, I couldn't take my eyes off her. We did look like each other. We were the same height, we had the same colour hair, the same eyes. I'd never met anyone who I could say I looked like before, and I was stunned by it. For a long while, we just stood there staring at each other before crying again for what felt like an eternity. I couldn't speak. I had lost all capacity to say anything at all. That I hadn't expected. I had played this day out a million times, had a million questions in my head, and now it was real. I couldn't get one word out. I guess Anne knew things might start off that way, so she bridged the gap. Aoife has been so nervous waiting outside Mary. This really is such a huge step for you both. And then I heard Mary speak for the first time. The voice I had imagined thousands of times in my head was nothing like it at all. She wasn't that lost little girl anymore, terrified to be pregnant. She was a beautiful, strong, warm and caring lady. I've been sitting here in this room going crazy, watching the door and staring at the picture you gave me with your letter. You're beautiful, I don't know how to let you go. She said over my shoulder while hugging me tighter than I had ever before. If I had known it was you looking for me, I would have responded straight away. She managed to get out through her tears. It wasn't long before I found my voice because her presence made me feel comfortable. I feel like this is a dream, I stammered. I had been waiting for so long for this day, and now that you're here after all this time, I don't know what to say or where to start. We can start anywhere you like, Mary said, as she took my hand and led me to the chair. She had a way of making me feel relaxed very quickly, so it wasn't long before we got going. We were only scratching the surface, but after a short time we were talking like we'd been long-lost friends. It was right straight away, and we seemed to get each other. We even had the same mannerisms. After a while, Anne could see that we were doing great, and that we were comfortable with each other, so she left us alone to talk. As soon as she left the room, Mary and I started laughing. I was so relieved when you walked into the room. By the way Anne had described you, I didn't know what to expect. I had a few pink extensions in my hair at the time, and my eyeliner was my best friend, but it was no different to any other 20-year-old. I looked exactly like you at your age, she said, and we both smiled. It was so strange. I had never spoken to this person sitting across from me before, yet there was not one single awkward silence, not one moment of not knowing what to say to each other after that initial few minutes. And at one point we even moved the table out of our way so we could have our chairs right beside each other. I felt so comfortable and it just felt right. Every now and then, Anne would pop her head in, which in all honesty just interrupted our conversation. But we'd get right back to it when she left again. I told Mary all about my childhood, my parents and my brother, how adoption has affected me in a good way and a bad. It was easy to be honest with her and not hold back. We talked about my friends, my school, college. She even repeated the same sentence Mum had earlier that day. I hope you haven't been missing too much time in college with all this going on. I just smiled and replied, maybe a little. It's hard to fill in a 20-year gap, but we were doing a good job of getting started and getting to know a little bit more about each other. Mary told me about her life and her husband, how she met him and her kids. She told me about her family, her job, and how she reacted when when she finally got the phone call from Anne. She genuinely had no idea I'd been looking for her, and she was shocked when she suddenly put the letters together. Then the conversation came around to the time I was adopted. It was hard listening to Mary tell me about it from her point of view. I could hear the pain still in her voice as she spoke about how much she questioned her decision and how hard it was. She had kept the pain and guilt with her all that time. And even when she was in labour with her daughter, who was then 6, she still relived the experience all over again, but just cried and cried, keeping all those emotions bottled up inside, not able to share them with anyone. I wish I could have told her before now that I was okay. Maybe then things would have been a little bit easier for her. After all, she must have felt so alone carrying such a big secret by herself for so long.